today I thought I would do a plant tour for you. I have a lot of indoor plants and I really like them all a lot. And some of them I'm really good at taking care of and I could give you some good tips, and then other ones I've had some different trials and errors with, and anyways, I just thought it would be fun to show you some of my experiences, and maybe if you like these videos then I'll do some more of them. So we'll just get to it. Alright, so first off, this is my only plant that's upstairs because this is pretty much my only window that I can have plants in up here, and my other rooms are way too dark. This is actually a north-facing window, but it actually gets quite a bit of light, and this plant seems to really like it in here. But I'm going to be taking her downstairs with me because she has not bloomed in about over a year, and she used to bloom all the time. You can see that the soil level has gone down quite a bit. I need to repot, do new soil, and I had some good compost in there and everything, so that way she can be happy and blooming again. Here are all my plants that I am working on repotting right now. This one, I don't know what the name is. I get a lot of my plants on discount, like in the clearance section, and they don't always have names on them. So this one didn't have one, but has little pink flowers. So if you know the name of this plant, has these leaves that are, you know, like that, and it has these little pink flowers. Anyways, if you know the name, that'd be great to know. I just got this one and some spoon jade the other day. These are both crotons. This one's a Petra, and this one is a sunny star. These are both $1 at Lowe's the other day that I got them, so they're pretty good looking. I'm very happy with them so far. I'm just gonna plant this one in this pot that has a drainage hole. This one doesn't have a drainage hole, so I'm going to need to actually make a hole in the bottom for this one. And then this one, I don't know what it's called either. It has these little white flowers. I got this at, see, there's not anything on the, nothing on the sides. I got this plant at one of my local nurseries, and they didn't know what it was called. They're not very good at with their houseplants there, but this plant was very happy about a year ago in this pot, and it's still growing, but has not bloomed for me since then. So I'm going to put it in, pot it in this plant with some new soil, and add in some, this is the compost I use for my indoor plants. I also like their compost tea a lot. It works pretty good. The buffalo. I stay at my local health food store. And then I also use these plant spikes. They work pretty darn good. I mean, my plants seem pretty happy using them, and I don't have to remember to fertilize my plants all the time. I don't use them in my succulents, but oh, hey, look at that. That's pretty cool. Same plant. Anyways, I don't use these in my succulents or in my African violets. I actually need to get some succulent feed, and I have some violet fertilizer that I use for my African violets. Also, my orchid, I just got some fertilizer for her, so we'll see if that makes it to where my orchid actually finally starts doing something. Okay, so in this window, this is a west-facing window, and I just moved this angel wing begonia. This is the most beautiful angel wing begonia that I have ever seen. It's not very happy right now because there is so much growth that was just hanging down really low and scraggly, and anyways, it was just ugly, and so I had to take care of it. The soil still is pretty good because I've been adding compost to it and stuff, but I think it might be too small. So I'm going to need to take that out and take the plant out to see if it's root bound or anything. And there was some new growth, but I had to put it back up on my fridge for a little bit, and it just wasn't happy there. So I put it in this west-facing window, hoping that it'll get the sunlight and, you know, more filtered down to here. And I use these sheer curtains. I use them to shade different plants and stuff. I'll show you more in my living room how I do that. I just have a little moss terrarium, and this is actually my son's little succulent mix that he has. A couple of hens and chicks, and one of these little cacti, and an aloe vera in there, and his little animals and all the different little things that he likes to stick in there, rocks and stuff. This is my new spoon jade. It's beautiful. It's so happy. I just absolutely love it. And it has these red tips on them, and it's just really pretty. And I got this Echeverria. I don't know what variety it was, because it was on clearance, and you know, they lose their tags a lot and stuff when they get into clearance, because they even had them to start off with. And I just turned this around like this one. I just flipped it around recently because it's going this way, because it was going towards the sun the other way. But I turn this around pretty regularly, and so it's growing really nicely. This is just a little cat thing that I made, and it has this little plant in here that I don't know what it is, but I'm watering it and I'm seeing if it'll grow. It's in cactus mix though, so it's not growing very fast, and that might be why. And then, I have this aloe vera hybrid too, that actually came from a big plant that I had gotten that had several in there that I just took them apart. Right, so in the craft room I have a south facing window that comes in, and so these are all the way in the back. They're kind of shaded by my dress form, and they're both just some spider plants that I have. This one has this one has one in it. This one has like 5 in it, that I just have them in here trying to get them to grow, so that way I can put them into some other containers and end up with just one in here probably, and just keep smaller ones in this one. This is up and away from the window. I have this moses in a basket that just finished blooming, and it's so happy. This moses in the basket, and then this angel wing begonia that's from my other one, they were both in our aquaponics, and their roots grew together, and so I had to repot them in the same pot. But they're very happy. The moses in the basket a little bit more happy than the angel wing begonia, because it's growing a little slower, but it could be because this moses in the basket might be crowding the angel wing begonia a little bit, because it is just going crazy. It's grown at least twice the size since I put it in here a couple months ago. And then, see, there's a little bloom still. So pretty. Let's see if he'll focus. Come on. Anyways. And I have this bird's nest fern. This is my only fern that I'm having a hard time with. Turn it, see, it has just these brown leaves. Because I water it, but the soil in it doesn't hold the water very well. And anyways, it's just, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this fern, because my other ferns are doing really good. Maybe something to do with the leaves are different. I don't know, because it's getting about the same kind of lighting as my other ferns are. And anyways, that's one of my plants that I've had it for 2 years, and it has grown kind of, but not really, and it's just not the happiest. So in my craft room I have a few other plants. I keep these curtains closed because it can get kind of hot sitting here while I'm working on things. And so I have this Echeverria. I don't know what variety it is, but it was already a little leggy when I got it, and so it's just kind of stayed that way. It's gotten huge. It was like the size of this baby here, And so it's been leggy. It's just made some babies, and it's just so beautiful and loves being on the windowsill. And oh, what? Look at this. Wonder if that's just gonna be. Wow, that's interesting. I've never seen it like that. Huh. Anyways. Yeah, because usually it just comes up like this when it's going to make a new leaf, so I wonder if it's going to flower. I've never had an aloe vera flower for me before, so that would be first. It has 2 babies. Like, this is the other one that came, like, all of these plants that I have, they all came together, and they all have babies now. It's amazing. And then I have this one. Again, I don't know the variety, just because they didn't say it. These 2 leaves have made roots, but they don't look very good. But they, see down there, they're growing whole plants from them. So, you know, I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. So just, even when your main leaf doesn't look as good, they can still grow a plant. And it's pretty awesome. From this plant, I only took these 2 leaves, and I just set them back in there, and they have little babies already. And this right here is just a spine from a cactus that I just got rid of because it's hooked like that, you know, like an actual hook, and you stick your finger in it and it would hook you as you try to pull your finger away, and it was so painful. So I got rid of it because it was not a nice cactus. Here in my office, I have a west-facing window, and then I have a north-facing door that's under a patio. But this bamboo, this lucky bamboo, I put it a little closer to the light, and it was doing fine even when it was like getting no light at all, but it's a little happier getting more light. And I just, you know, fill up the water and leave it alone all week. Then I have a pothos. I need to get off some of the dead leaves. I need to actually plant this in something because it's just been living in water for about a year. But it's kind of an extra plant that I have that I don't really know where to put it or what to do with it, but maybe I'll repot it and put it in my bathroom upstairs because I do kind of want another plant in there. So then maybe I'll see how it does. This actually has grown slightly, but I forgot about it for a little too long, and it was when I was moving things around and I was using this more as a storage room, it got a little bit too little of shade, like a little less sunlight than it needs. But it's actually it's been living in this room for like 2 years with only getting light from this door. So anyways, I'm pretty surprised with how resilient a pothos is, because I've had them in full sun and I've had them in hardly any sun, and they still live really good, even just living in just water. I mean, one of my really big pothos is in like our aquaponics, and I'll show you that. It's really cool. Okay, I have this fern up here. It has all these new little scragglies that it was up on my kitchen cabinet, but it wasn't getting enough, you know, it wasn't able to grow as much. And so I moved it over here onto this hutch, and or china cabinet, whatever it is, and it's just growing up so good and so happy. These are from the original leaves. This plant was really old and extremely root bound. I had to take my scissors and chop out like all these leaves from it because it was the only ones that were alive and plant them in here, and it's just grown tremendously since I got this plant. It is so happy. I don't know what variety of fern it is, but it's kind of a basic house fern that usually you can find pretty easily. Once these dry off, they can make a bit of a mess, so once they start dying, I like to clip them off, and so that way I don't have to worry about sweeping too much off. But I just mist it like maybe 3 times a week and check it for water 2 to 3 times a week depending on the time of year. I have a little hens and chick right here that's stretching towards the light. Anyways, I just had it here, and it was doing really good for a long time, but now it's really growing a lot and really stretching towards the light. It's crazy. And then I have a couple of air plants. This one has some beautiful red on it, and so this one is a little bit more pink, not quite as red, but it's getting a little bit more red as it's getting more sunlight. It gets a little bit more shaded by this fern. This is come on. Oh, there we go. This is an asparagus fern. It's not actually a fern. It's actually related to asparagus, and it grows like asparagus. See, it has all those little things that just pop up. But you take care of it like you would a fern. And it's so fuzzy, and I love it so much. They also, I think, call them tree ferns too or something. But anyways, I know them more as asparagus ferns. And I also have these string of pearls here that have grown actually a lot. It doesn't look like very many string of pearls, but when I planted them in this, they were all towards the center before my cat knocked them down, and then anyways, and they all came apart, so I replanted them, and I planted them a little farther away so that way if I wanted to I could take them out more easily and separate them. But they have grown. Why is there a hair tangled up in you? You are so silly. Jiminy crickets. Okay, so like this cluster has gotten so thick right here, and these pearls, so probably from here down is all new growth. Same on these. See where they're all smaller? That's all new growth from when I got them this last fall. And I'm just keeping it, my door is not usually open, but that's a south-facing door. I have a south-facing window. And so these get a little bit more of filtered light, but kind of like indirect bright light is, man, my camera is not focusing very well at all. There we go. So they do really well in that. What I do with these, because when I got them, they're like super glued down in there and I can't take them out. And so I just take them and I turn this upside down, I stick in some water, or I'll just trickle some water over them, and I mist them when I'm misting my fern. And so far they're doing really good. But they're needing a little bit more care than you normally would, just because I have a dry climate for one thing, but they're stuck in these, so I can't take them out to soak them. And but you know, they're still pretty happy and they're doing really good. And this is just, of course, some cactus mix, but this does need to be watered a little bit more than most succulents because just the variety it is. It doesn't like to be in bright light, like, you know, super bright hot light, of course, but I'll stick my finger down in there and I let the first inch kind of dry out pretty well, but I don't like it to get too much drier than that, otherwise it's not as happy. Other plants in my living room, I have this pothos. I don't know if you can quite see it. It's black. There we go. See, it's coming from my fish tank over there, stretching all the way up and going down. So you can see these leaves down here. I mean, look at that leaf. It's huge. And then up here, when we first got them, you know, well, actually this is more like when we first kind of had them. The leaves are pretty good size, you know, but in comparison to this, it's like nothing. This is when we put it in the aquaponics, you know, the leaves start getting bigger and bigger, you know, stretching up there, and then it just like went crazy. So these windows, I have a double curtain rod so I can close my regular curtain at night, but then I also have this to protect plants like, see my poor orchid. It's just, it was so bad when I got it. Its roots were almost completely rotted out. There was like one root that was kind of okay, and I've had this for close to a year, not quite, and it's doing surprisingly okay-ish. 2 leaves of it just died, but this one I'm really hoping that with the fertilizer this leaf will be okay and it'll start making new leaves. because the roots are growing and have grown. So hopefully it'll be okay. These are my 2 African violets. This was actually with this one, but I'm gonna actually probably have to take some more out of it, but this is just huge. So many African violets in here. And it's always blooming. It's like constantly blooming. It's pretty amazing. And I fertilize it every week, but it loves being in this window with this filtered light. It really likes this bright light that's, you know, somewhat filtered. But my cat knocked off my my pot and broke the inside part because it came apart and the inside part broke, but the outside didn't. And because of that, so my plants came out, and so this is one of the ones that came out of this when that broke. And it's just in another violet, but I rarely actually use it. I rarely water it from the bottom. I normally actually just go make sure I don't get the leaves. And looks like my son got the leaves actually a little bit because he insisted on watering them today. I just water it from the top underneath the leaves because I use the fertilizer, and I don't really want the fertilizer down in the bottom because I don't know why, but I think that might be kind of gross. Oh, so here I have some succulents. I have another hens and chicks. This is an African stick plant or pencil cactus. This is one of those. This is the same as, oh, there's actually another one in here. This one's still living. This one grew some roots, so I'm having to water a little bit more now. Hopefully it'll grow, because this is the same as what's in with all those other succulents. And there's another pencil cactus start that they are getting some roots finally, so they're not as shriveled. See, this one's pretty shriveled. I don't know if you can tell, but it's not as shriveled as it was, because it's finally absorbing more water. Here's one of those aloes that we took apart, and like it has all these little babies on the bottom, and it's stretched. They were all kind of stretched because they were so closely together, and so it made their leaves really short, and their leaves aren't getting very long on the bottom, but so it's making more babies. This has gotten huge. Like, it just started making these babies like 2 months ago. They're already big. Oh, and you know, these I take care of them like a normal aloe vera. They need a little less care, and they can handle the bright sunlight a little better, so I like to keep these on my windowsill more. Whereas like, oh, see this one, I need to close this curtain a little bit more because move it over. It's a little bit too much bright light, and see how it's kind of pale. It's not as happy being in this window. This is an plant. It has, you know, root. This is my husband's project, and the cat climbs up here. He climbs up, jumps over there, and then like jumps into here. So this poor plant has been through a lot. It's also been knocked on the ground, like my African violet and my string of pearls, because my cat is not very graceful. And anyways, oh, here's another product of my cat. So this is our aquaponic system kind of thing that we did. We just have our fish down here, just a couple of goldfish, and you can see all those roots in there from the pothos. It's just crazy. We don't have any lights in there really. We just let them get some sunlight from the window. And so we have a thing of foam up here that rests on top, and then we have cutouts with some things for our plants to be in here. And my cat knocked these out of the water for a little while, so hopefully these will be okay and will root. But I need to take off some of this dead stuff that he killed. And he's been slowly killing this bamboo. This is like actual bamboo, and he's slowly killing it, but it's trying to survive even though he's always eating it. And anyways, and then I have this little plant is actually doing really good in here. It's a little flattened from him sitting on the fish tank. My cat comes up here and actually lays flat on here sometimes. He's fallen into the fish tank enough from doing that that he's stopped doing that quite as much now, which is nice. So anyways, let's go away from that ugly thing and go to, this is my first cactus that I ever got, has a little baby down here. This is all those other baby cactuses or cacti that I have. That's what came from this plant. This plant is old and has spider webs in it, and it's just really hard to clean because it's a cactus. So if you want a plant that's easy to clean, I don't really recommend cacti because they're just not easy to clean. And I don't know, I need to like do something about this, but it makes babies all the time, so I just kind of leave it in here, even though it looks terrible. But I don't know, I still love him a lot. Here's an aloe vera that is actually doing, it was not very happy in this window for very long, but it's actually come out of it and it's doing pretty good now. It's growing a lot, and so I'm kind of thinking I'm going to keep it in this window for now. I don't know what kind of plant this is. This was given to us by one of my husband's customers as a housewarming present. It's really beautiful and it's grown a lot. It's probably twice as big as it used to be, because see where it curved? So it comes up here and now it starts curving, and then the rest of it is new growth because it's kind of curving towards the light a little bit. So I put it over in this window, and so now it's curving up over again. So I guess maybe if I keep turning it, it'll keep growing like that. It'll be kind of interesting to see. I probably won't do that, but man, this plant is really I just love the leaf, like the leaf pattern on here. I just really love it a lot, and I think it's really beautiful. So this is my huge pencil cactus. Those other ones that I have, those starts, that's how big this pencil cactus used to be. And I've had it for 5 or 6 years, and it's just, it's on a, I have a support on it. I need to probably actually get another support. Will you focus, camera? Come on. Here. There. It has some clover that is growing in here because my clover was in here and I repotted some of it, and I thought that the rest of it had died, but apparently not, because this clover, this is actually in regular potting soil because I planted it in here before I knew better. And so that might be why these are doing so well still. And I used the same soil as what these were in because the soil was fairly new when it died, when I thought it had all died. And so I just mixed some compost with it and let it go. And it's all dusty. A lot of my plants are dusty. They need to be dusted pretty regularly because I live in a dry climate, so everything is dusty all the time. And I'm always dusting, and plants are so hard to dust. But this is such a cool plant. It's actually better for you to dust your plants because they breathe a little easier. But of course, things like your powdery Echeverias, you don't really want to do that because that ruins the finish on them. But the rest of them, I like these. These actually don't get dusty, which is really nice. All these clovers, I don't ever have a problem with them getting dusty, but it could be just because the kind of leaves they are. I don't know. Okay, so here is a Christmas cactus, and here is a Thanksgiving cactus. The Thanksgiving cactus has, it's not quite so, it's like pointier leaves. See how they're pointy like that? And then the Christmas cactus, they're rounder. I'm pretty sure that's how, yeah. As a Christmas cactus, they, these things break off all the time. It's so annoying. And the Thanksgiving cactus, they don't break off all the time. And these bloom around Thanksgiving and these bloom around Christmas, so that's why they're different names. And then I have some Jade that's growing in here because this is such a big pot that I just stick other succulents in here to let them kind of root down. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. These Jades, though, I did not think that they would, and they pretty much all did. Like, there's another one back here. And those ones aren't doing as good probably because they're not as close to the light, but and these are all doing okay, getting more filtered light, and they're doing pretty good. These haven't bloomed, but they're not in the right, they're not in cactus soil mix, and they haven't ever been fertilized, so I think that's maybe what it is. But they were both gifted to me, and so This one has been repotted though. It's just neither one of them has bloomed. Actually, what happened with this one was my mom took it out for me and separated it into 3 cactuses, 3 Christmas cactus, and then repotted this one into the same pot. Then I have another lucky bamboo right there, and then I have, this is a new addition. This come on. Why are you not focusing? There you go, good job. Okay, so this is our new Venus Flytrap, which I was learning about these. You don't have to keep them domed, they just need to kind of stay a little bit more moist. Like, you kind of take care of them like you would a fern almost, but you want them in very nutrient poor soil. So this is just in like some peat moss basically, and I don't know, you just only feed them like once a month. And oh, they need to go dormant though, so like some people keep them in the refrigerator during the winter. Is that interesting? So we'll see if we can keep this one alive. I'm hoping we do. It has a little bit of, I don't know if you can tell, probably not because my camera's not focusing very well. Maybe this one has a little bit, maybe you can see the red. Let's see. No, you can't really see the red with the camera. Oh well, anyways, there is some red on these, and so I'm thinking if we keep it in bright light this summer, like keep it outside, then it'll get a lot of red on it. I'm hoping so, because I think that'll be really beautiful. And then here's this fern. It doesn't say, it's just tropical plant care. It's like, thank you, that's helpful. I don't know what kind of fern this is, so, but I just take care of it like I do the rest of them, just make sure that it gets enough water, and I mist it a few times a week. It needs to be repotted though. I need to take out a bunch of this dead stuff that's from when I first got it and repot it in this larger pot. I'm going to put one of my new plants actually on this stand. This is on here for right now, even though it's way too big to be on there. But and then I have this snake plant, and it's probably, because when I first got it, there's a little bit taller. I mean, a little bit taller than maybe these newer ones, but not by much. It's grown quite a bit, and it's gotten a lot of babies. And but I am hoping to be able to take cuttings of some of them and maybe propagate them or something, so that way I can put more in here, because I just kind of want this to be really full. And I want to be able to have more of these because I really like them a lot. I think that they're really beautiful, and they really clean your air really well, and they survive pretty easily. You take care of them like you would a succulent actually. They don't like too much water, but they don't like too much light, and so that's why it's kind of there, like my window, and then it's shaded a little bit. It gets more brighter light during the middle of the day, but I do have this light on, so it looks a little brighter here than it really is. And here's another angel wing begonia. I don't know what variety any of my begonias are, because they've all been things I've gotten as gifts, or ones that I've actually gotten from just plant sales that people have had that they weren't labeled. So well, really I only have this one and my other one. I used to have more, but I killed my other one, so but this one's pretty cool. It's grown quite a bit since I've gotten it, and it's pretty happy actually in this pot. I don't really repot my angel wing begonias too much, just because they don't really ever seem to need it that much. It's kind of interesting. Oh, and I just water most of my plants once a week, and this is one of them. Like, all of them are pretty much once a week except for my ferns, and then my succulents every 1.5 weeks when it's drier usually, and then like every 2 weeks when it's not, when during kind of the monsoon season, or when the swamp cooler's on. And then I have this air plant, not air plant, my grandma calls them airplane plants, so I get those confused. This is a spider plant, and it has a bunch of babies on it, and it's one of the striped ones. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't had one of the striped ones until my grandma gave me this one, and I think it's really fun. because of how, you know, it's just striped. And then they're so much fun when they bloom. I love their little flowers. They're just really little white flowers. I really like them a lot. I keep that one plant that I'm repotting with those leaves that I'm trying to get to bloom. That goes up there. And it's pretty happy up there. Okay guys, I hope you found that helpful and interesting. I am planning on doing a video soon about how I use compost to watch for fertilizing some of my plants, and just kind of showing you how I fertilize them. And so I really find that helps a lot because they're not getting any nutrients from the soil once, you know, they use it all up in their pot, because you're not giving that's all that they have. So you have to give them something for them to be able to survive and do well. So I'm planning on doing that here soon, and so if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe. And anyways, that's all for today. Bye.